Pete Gozalak is in the ball game on fourth down. He'll fly a field goal from the 25-yard line. It's got the upright. 9 plays, 75 yards. And the New York Giants build their lead to 13-6 over the Eagles, and we have 40 seconds to play in the first half. 40 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. And before I get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below, maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, if Joe Schoen and / the Giants want to add any players by the start of the new league year, which is this Wednesday, March 16th at 1 o'clock, free agency. Shane will have to do a couple more moves, pull a few more aces out of his sleeve, shall we say, all right, before the new year, if he wants to come up, get to that clear the $40 million worth of cap space that he's been talking about, okay? Now, Monday, all right, at 12 o'clock, high noon, you're allowed to start negotiating with the free agents. Now guys have been been picked up. Even Mari Cooper's is on a new team and all, but a lot of these guys have been traded. I mean, like Russell Wilson's been traded, Mari Cooper's been traded. Some other guys, some maybe people. Dalton Schultz has been franchise tagged. Some guys have been franchise tagged. Some guys have been traded. Some guys are, have been signed, but maybe they re-signed with their old team, or they've been signed. That's because they were just let go, and they can sign. So, but I mean, like free agents, they, they start talking, negotiating around on Monday, 12 o'clock. But they can't sign anything, can't make anything official until Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Which is the start of the new calendar year for the NFL. All right. Now, when it comes to signing the draft class for the Giants are going to need, their first two picks are going to cost them probably somewhere around $10, $11 million or so. Then you got the second rounder and the 2 third rounders. That's probably easy another $3 million. So you're looking at 13, 14 million, somewhere around there for their first, 5 picks. Then they got 4 more picks. They got 9 picks altogether. All right. So then those are going to say at least another 3 million. Right. So you're looking at right around maybe 17 million or so. But they're not going to need 17 million per se to sign them, because you bring in 9, they might cut 9, some of the guys lower down, some of the guys that are borderline as far as they're ever going to make the team or not or anything, So some of the guys that are making 800, 900,000, we might want to let some of those guys go. So it's not going to maybe totally go 17 million against the cap. I mean, we're going to need 17 million, but then we let go some guys, because you might save, it might cost you 17 for the draft class, but you might save 5 or 6 by letting some guys go. So, I mean, you might need maybe 10, 8, 9, 10, 11 million or so to sign your draft class, but that doesn't leave a whole heck of a lot of money left over to sign some free agents. But the reconstruction, Blake Martinez and Shepard is huge. I mean, not only that, the amount of money, their salary, what it's going to be. I'm going to go over that in a moment here. But now, to reduce their salary, so the Giants are saving money. But not only that, they're keeping 2 really good players, really good players. I mean, Blake Martinez in the center there. The linebacker, that's huge. Hopefully he can stay healthy. So, same thing for Shepard, too. I mean, Shepard and Daniel Jones are, got a nice connection going. I mean, Shepard had a nice season going for him, and of course, he got injured, and But I mean, Shepard would have had, if he played all 17 games, he would have had well over 80 receptions. He would have had almost 900 yards receiving on a really horrible offense. That's not too bad, So keeping those two guys is absolutely huge. All right, so the first thing that Shane did, obviously was he cut Kyle Rudolph. Had a little bit of dead cap money, but I think it was he counted 7.5 toward this salary, but there's $2.5 million of a dead cap hit. But basically, we saved $5 million by letting Kyle Rudolph go. All right, then of course we got rid of Devontae Booker, which damn, I hate that because he really helped out last year. He did a nice job last year, and I mean his salary I think was like $3 million. I mean. But he's trying to clean out. I mean, Devontae Booker, it was nice because he put that on his resume. He had a nice season with a crappy team last year with a horrible offense, and he did very, very well for himself. So he put that on his resume. So someone's going to pick him up for sure. So, but that saved the Giants a little over $2 million. Then they cut Riley Dixon. Okay, no biggie there. He just seemed like every year he just seemed to get a little bit worse and a little bit worse, a little worse. I mean, he had some good games last year, but a couple of the games last year were not very good at all. And especially, I mean, you can find a punter. I mean, not say, I can punt, You want good punters, obviously, but you can find somebody out there, who's do a decent job for you for, $1 million, maybe a little bit more than $1 million, whatever. But they saved $2.8 million by getting rid of their punter. All right, so now they're up between those three guys, letting them go. They're up to $9.9 million, baby, that they saved. Then Sterling Shepard took a pay cut. All right, now the deal can be worth up to what I was reading. There's a couple articles that I was looking at. I'll leave the links in the description box. You can check them out if you want. I was going over these articles. Now, his deal can be worth up to $5.5 million with incentives and all. So, if he wasn't coming off of his injury, he maybe on the open market, maybe he can certainly get more than that. But I mean, he's always hurt. He's just coming off an injury. I mean, is somebody going to want to sign him? He's just coming off that injury. I mean, somebody will sign him, but how much money is he really going to get? They don't know. He's recuperating. I mean, is he going to come back? I don't know. You don't know. So it'd be a little bit of a gamble to sign somebody, especially to sign him at like $8, $9, $10 million. You just don't know what he's going to be. But I mean, so they want to save some money there. Then they saved the money, which is huge. And they kept the player, which is huge, absolutely huge. And apparently what I'm reading is that by summertime he'll be ready to go, if not sooner. That's huge. I mean, he's way ahead of schedule. Phenomenal job, very, very good. So then they did the savings with Shepard. What I was seeing was being around like $4.5 million. All right, by restructuring his contract. So they're up to $14.4 million they've saved so far. Then sadly they had to cut Caden Smith. I like Caden Smith. He had a very nice rookie season. He had a problem with his knee. I hope his knee's okay. I hope he can, I don't know exactly what's wrong with it. Hope he may get operated on or rested or whatever. I'm sure somebody will pick him up sooner or along the line. But hopefully his knee is not, career ending or anything like that. But, he failed his physical. I mean, even as much as we need tight ends, if you fail your physical, it is what it is. So they let him go. So that's $2.5 million is saved right there. So now they're up to $16.9 million. Now, Blake Martinez took a pay cut. And I think his deal, when I was reading, with incentives, can be worth like maybe around $5 million. And it's kind of the same thing with him. He's recuperating from this injury. What's he going to get on the open? Somebody going to sign him to $10 million? He just came off of a season-ending injury. So, I mean, you don't know what he's going to be like. You don't know if he's going to be 100% or something. Do you want to pay him $10 million? You don't know what he's going to be like. So I mean, it was great. You save money and you save the player. You got Blake Martinez coming back, and if he's doing good for us, the Giants are going to have money next year. Same thing with Shepard. If Shepard can stay healthy, right, and you want to get him for the following year, same thing with Saquon. We're going to have money in 2023. We can re-sign these guys. Right? I mean, it won't be huge contracts, but we can certainly keep good quality players. Absolutely. But his deal with incentives is going to be worth maybe around $5 million. So his savings, what I was saying, would be worth around $6 million, which is huge. Save $6 million and you save the player. Fantastic. Now we're up to $22.9 million in savings. Okay. So now, they're up around, rounded off to $23 million. They need another $17 million to go. What else can they do? Now they can, obviously the big one that keeps floating around out there is either cut or trade James Bradberry. Now if they can find, they can find a trade partner. It takes two to tango. So I mean, it's what I was saying is maybe they can get a third, maybe a fourth round pick for him. Maybe third, it might be a little bit high. Maybe like a fourth rounder for him. Because part of it is if you just cut him, all right, let him go, it'd be a $9.7 million dead cap hit, but you'd save 12.1, which would be huge. So if you're up to 23 after all those trades and you let him go, now you're up to $35 million if you just let James Bradberry go, all right. But it takes two to tango, all right, with these trades. I mean, because somebody's going to want to go, pay a salary and give up a draft pick for him too. I mean, it's a double, I mean, if anything, the Giants might, he's certainly worthwhile, cornerback out there. Somebody's going to sign him, But I mean, if somebody want to pay that big salary and give up a draft pick, not always that easy, It said the teams can also call the Giants' bluff, all right, and just you're gonna let him go, sir? Yeah. Now we're not giving you a fourth round pick. No, sorry. We're gonna wait for you to cut him. Then one of us will pounce on him and sign him. I mean, as I said, unless there's a team out there that's really anxious to get a cornerback, willing to give up maybe a fourth for him and pay him a nice little salary, But the other side, teams could call it Giants bluff and just wait for the Giants just to, because the Giants got to do something with them. And I don't know if, Shane wants to, extend his contract or anything like that. I think if anything, he just wants to bite the bullet this year, and then after this year, maybe, that'll be, clean house or whatever and move on from here. So I don't think he wants to re-sign it, extend his contract or anything like that. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, because you only got, a couple days left before free agency starts, and if you let him go, you're going to save $12 million, which is wind up being huge. So if you let him go, now you're up to $35 million. Okay, you could cut Nick Gates. All right, now will he ever be able to play in the NFL again? He might be. I mean, Gates has no ties to Shane or Dable or Wink Martindale or any of those guys. He has no ties whatsoever. I mean, do they want to wait around for him to see if he can, So he might be a cap casualty there too. I mean, unfortunately, it would stink because you only got so many offensive linemen, and he would be one of them. And he was a decent, offensive lineman. Whether it was the right tackle. At the center position, he did a nice, decent job. When he put him at guard, he seemed like he was a little out of his element. But but if you let him go, all right, you'd save yourself $2.1 million. Now you're up to $37.1 by letting Nick Gates go. Now you could cut or trade Darius Slayton. Now there's a lot of wide receivers in this draft. Okay, many of them, are that could take his place. All right. You'd have a hard time telling me that his rookie season, when he had a nice rookie season. Once again, that was with Pat Shermer calling plays, not the clapper. It's Darius Slayton, a 5th round pick, had a very nice rookie season. The past 2 seasons have been a little disappointing with Jason Garrett calling plays. But, I mean, if you let him go, you know, I'm not saying you're going to pick a wide receiver in the 5th round that's going to be 3 times as good as him or nothing, but, I mean, you're going to find quality wide receivers in this draft, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th round, you know, so you could replace him in the draft. I mean, you know, it hurts letting somebody go, but if it's going to do, it is what it is. You'd save, if you let him go, or if you can find somebody to take him in a trade, I mean, maybe get a 7th rounder for him if you're lucky, but you'd save $2.5 million. Now you're up to 39.6. All right, now to get to $40 million, what you could do is you could cut the X-Man, Oshane Ximines. His rookie season was very promising. I'll tell you what, you know, I mean, nothing's, he had 3.5 or 4.5 sacks, I believe. I mean, you know, it's like, okay, rookie season, 3.5 or 4.5. I should know the number. I do apologize. But it's okay. You know, maybe the second year, maybe he gets 5, 5, maybe 6. You know, I mean, hey, if you got an edge rusher that gets you 5, 6, 7 sacks a season, okay, sign me up for that. All right, you know, especially when you rotate guys in and out and off. You got, you know, if you got 3 or 4 edge rushers, you know, Azeez Ojulari gets 8 or 9, and X-Man gets, you know, 6 or 7. If somehow you were able to keep Lorenzo Carter, and he could get 6 or 7. I mean, if you got, you know, 3 or 4 edge rushers that get 6 or 7 sacks apiece, hey, sign me up for that. But his 2nd and 3rd season, he didn't have anything, and he was a healthy scratch almost like half the season last year. He had that one penalty against the Chiefs, and he was in Judge's doghouse for the longest time. So, I mean, you know, he could possibly be a cap casualty too. And if you let him go, you'd save yourself $1 million. Now you're up to $40.6 million that he would save. Okay. One thing they haven't done, they haven't talked to Leonard Williams about doing anything with his contract now. Maybe taking, lowering his contract, or restructuring it at all or anything like that, because his cap hit is $27.3 million. I mean, if he could do something with that, I mean, you know, you could do it, you know. The thing is that, once again, might be his last season with the Giants, as next season he's due $26.3 million with only an $8.3 million dead cap hit. So, if you let him go after this season, you'd save yourself $18 million. That's maybe why he doesn't want to do anything. You know, he doesn't want to keep kicking the can down the road. He just, you know, let's take our lumps this year. All right, the next year maybe we'll let a few of these guys go or whatever, and we'll save even more money. I mean, that's $18 million you'd save by letting money. I mean, he's you know, phenomenal, really good defensive lineman. But yeah, if you can save yourself $18 million. Yeah, that would be huge. As I said, this might be his last season with us. Now, if we're going to trade, this one, I see this in the article here, and I'm kind of like, in a way it makes sense, but in a way you'd really be hurting the offense and Daniel Jones. If you want to try to trade Saquon, it would save $7.2 million, which would be, you know, very, very nice. But this might be a big mistake. Is having him, you know, having him just on the field really helps Daniel Jones. It's just the presence of some guys. You know, I mean, hopefully when he comes back, hopefully he'll be okay. You know, the ankle from last year and all this other stuff. Hopefully he'll be okay. Now, I don't know if he'll ever have the ability he had when his rookie season, because the injuries may be taking a little bit of a toll on him. Who knows? But just having him on the field, you know, it takes, you know, the attention of the defense. They, you know what I mean? There's Saquon. You know, certain guys get on the field and say, where's he at? Oh, there he is. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you know, and he's one of them. So, I mean, having him on the field is huge. Even if you don't hand him the ball or throw him the ball, just having him on the field is huge, because you give him a hole. Maybe he doesn't have the speed, maybe to take it all the way or whatever, but you give him a hole, he's going 30, 40 yards. I mean, one of the cornerbacks or safeties might get him or drive him out of bounds, you know, cut the angle down and just drive him out of bounds or something like that or whatever. But you give him a crease, he can go 30, 40, 50 yards. I mean, you know, hey, if he hits it well enough, whatever, he can maybe take it all the way. But So when you got somebody like that on the field, you gotta pay attention to him. So I mean, maybe letting him or trading him or whatever might be a mistake. They can trade away if they could. One I saw in this article, Logan Ryan. Now, if we're able to trade him, we might have to want to maybe have to pay maybe some of his salary. Just to get rid of him. I mean, because $12.2 million is the salary toward the cap, so that's a decent amount. Not that you're going to get much of anything for him in return because of his age. I said if you were able to trade him, he said you might get maybe a sixth or a seventh. But I'm saying out of that money, you might have to pay, I don't know, whatever, 3, 4, 5, half of it, whatever, maybe just to get rid of the guy, but you'd still save some money, which you wind up being huge. And I said with Logan Ryan, I mean, you can't say that so much now because if you let him go, you can't say, well, let him go, we'll pick Kyle Hamilton in the draft, we'll get that safety. Well, he may not make it to number 5. He may not make it to number 7, so you can't really say that. But the other thing you can do is, and which I saw in this article too, you could cut or trade Julian Love. Now, once again, I think this could wind up being a mistake, is because his versatility in the secondary. Now, he's not a shutdown corner. He's not, but he's very intelligent. He can play a lot of different positions. I said he's not Deion Sanders out there. If you got to put him on, at the first cornerback position, it is what it is. He's going to give up some passes, but he's intelligent enough, and all you can put him many different places. And I think in Wink Martindale's defense, I think that would be huge. Especially somebody gets hurt, you maybe put him in there. Somebody gets hurt in the safety, put him back there. Versatility, and he's not that expensive. I mean, his only counts $2.7 million toward the cap. That's what I'm saying. But if they were just to cut him or let him go, there's another 2.7 they could wind up saving. All right. Then they could try to restructure Leonard Williams' contract. It's $27.3 million. They could try to restructure somehow like Kenny Galladay's contract. He's worth $21.1 toward the cap. Or Adoree Jackson is $15.2 million toward the cap. I mean, those 3 guys, $63.6 million toward the cap. Those 3 guys. I mean, they're like 30% of the cap, somewhere around there. I mean, if you triple that, that's 190 million. I mean, like maybe 30% toward the cap. Those 3 guys. I mean, and it's now. Neither one of them is a quarterback. I mean, I could see maybe Daniel Jones was in there and he was $27 million, and you got the other 2. No, you got 3 guys. None of them are quarterbacks, and they're almost like 30% of your cap. But I'm thinking it's kind of like, if Shane may not want to touch those guys, because I said he doesn't want to kick the can down the road, but also because if you let those 3 guys go next year, right, with their salary, what they're supposed to get, and if you subtract the dead cap money, okay, this is why Shane may not want to touch any of those guys, right? Because if he lets all 3 of those guys, if he can trade them or let them go next year, you save $41 million. And with the $41 million, you could sign yourself a quarterback. I mean, whether if you're gonna sign Daniel Jones to that big contract, or you can, if there's a free agent quarterback out there you want to bring in or whatever. But regardless, I mean, if it's a quarterback or not, if you can let those 3 guys go, I mean, it would hurt because they're, they could be decent. I mean, Adoree Jackson, he is what he is, he's decent. Kenny Golladay can be decent, and of course Leonard Williams is our best defensive lineman. So I mean, it would hurt in a way, but $41 million if he could let those guys go, and $41 million. So Shane's almost there. He's got a few more moves to go. Before he gets to his $40 million, but, within the next day, couple days, whatever, by the beginning of free agency, look for something to happen with James Bradberry, because he's the key. If he wants to get his $40 million, he's got to do something with James Bradberry. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there. Go Giants! Woo!